Man, welcome in to the Fake Stuff podcast brought to you by the crew. We had to change it up, switch it up a little bit, but Craftman in the building as always. What's going on, Craftman?
I would usually say the same old thing, but we're doing shit totally different tonight. We got all the new tech, got headphones, got a new mic, got the StreamYard going. So I'm just ready to talk some football, get back to what we're good at.
Yep. C Swizzy in the building. He the one setting all this up, figuring it all out. What's going on, C Swizzy?
Rebranded, massive rebranding.
Big
If you
time.
checked out the stuff, you seen the logo, seen everything, we're gonna switch some shit up.
Yeah, like we've been calling ourselves the Cruise Dynasty Podcast, but we just do way more because we're the Cruise Redraft Podcast, Gambling Podcast. We just changed it. We always talk about the fake stuff, so here we are changing it to the Fake Stuff Podcast. Like Chris said, just rebranding it because we just do more. I mean, gambling is like our biggest thing. So we do way more than Dynasty, so it's like we got to switch it up. Can't be the Cruise Dynasty Podcast and our best thing be gambling. You know what I'm saying, Craft Man?
Yeah, it seems like during the season we do a lot of the gambling stuff, and then the off season we're breaking down the rookies, and then in August redraft starts back. So we just kind of flip flop as the season goes along with what's important to talk about.
Right. But yeah, like we got a bunch of changes rolling on, new logos. We're now the Fake Stuff Podcast. If you search us, Fake Stuff Podcast, maybe search Crew Matt Ham or Cruise Dynasty Podcast. Some things in the system might be a little, a little wonky, but heck, I'm pretty sure I done went through and changed it all. Everything should be the Fake Stuff Podcast channel. Check us out on Apple, Spotify. Check us out on YouTube. Tonight we up on the StreamYard, so we sitting here trying to stream. This episode might come out just on YouTube and Twitter, might come out on the podcast, might not come out at all. We might just be sitting on here, just sitting on our ass doing nothing. But at least we figuring it out. But hopefully this episode's coming out. And this is just the start of this is year 3. I mean, we got heavy hitters on the podcast team. A lot of the team you don't even see. We got people behind the scenes. Everybody's good at playing fantasy football. They're all in championships. Heck, I'm the one hosting this thing, and I'm the only one not in the championship. We got Chris, Kraft, Duncan, Noah Dick Blower. I don't know about Phil. He might not be in any championships, but heavy hitters. But the only thing is they're not on Twitter boasting about it. So you might not even know who C Swizzy and the Craft Man Pack fan are. So that's why you need to hop on the podcast.
On Twitter boasting about it either. Fuck that.
Yep, not gonna find Chris on Twitter doing that shit. So it's like you guys don't even know that the Fake Stuff Podcast, we got some heavy hitters over here and some heavy gamblers. They just right here. Check us out on the Discord. How about that? Follow us on the Discord. That's what we're gonna really build up because we're not doing a website. C Swizzy got us set up with the Discord a while back. Now I realize what the Discord is. I'm glad we have it. So we're gonna try to build that up.
I'm trying to teach them how all of this stuff works. I'm trying to teach them.
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. Like, if people would know how far we came, I mean, me and Kraft was just on Zoom with a little 40-minute time limit, hopping on, sending email links, recording podcasts like that. Now look at us. We're going to be on YouTube, Twitter, all that good stuff. Probably be adding more stuff. And, we want to do dynasty startups, best balls during the off season. We got a lot of stuff going on in the off season. Y'all come join us. Heck, I'll be trying to talk Craftman into doing a flag football tournament. We need to set that up. But, hey, do it all. Come get involved with us. And, but other than that, Craftman, anything you want to say before we get to rolling?
No, I'm just excited for where this thing's going. I mean, we're getting big time. Like you said, Zoom back in the day had to, it's about to end. Finish what you're about to say so I can send you another link right quick.
Man.
Been on Discord for 2 years and shit, we still don't even know what Discord is, but we recorded on it. We knew how to do that.
Yeah, we using it as a recording platform, but really, I mean, it's a whole little thing we could build up. But yeah, I mean, C Swizzy, anything you want to say before we move on?
Yeah, I can remember the days of the Zoom. That was a pain in the ass.
Chris came in.
Me just trying to tell them, like, look, guys, we could do this shit on Discord. Like, we ain't gotta do that. We ain't gotta do this. Like, we could even do this shit somewhere else. Like, not even Discord. We could probably figure out something better than this shit. Like,
Yep.
We use Google Meet.
So yeah, man.
Probably be better than that.
All right, man. So while we redoing it and changing things up, we're really pushing our YouTube at 5-star reviews on your platforms, man. Add the podcast, hit the bell notification if it's there. 5-star review, leave us a comment. Other than that, let's just move the fuck on and let's just talk about the fake stuff. I'm tired of talking about. We got big changes coming. The changes are here. So speaking of changes, Michael Penix in the building for the Falcons. I wanted to talk about him because I've been saying it from the jump, Craft Man. Everybody was laughing at the Falcons. Not I. This was like the most sane pick we've had in a long time, in my opinion.
I'm still laughing at the Falcons.
Same.
The whole world is laughing at the Falcons, but hey, it is what it is.
I'm no longer laughing about Penix, though. I'm not laughing about Penix.
So, Craft Man, the whole fallout. What's the whole fallout? Penix. What are we thinking about? Drake London, Mooney going in the next season. What's the word on him?
I mean, we're only going to get to see like 2 more games of Penix because they're not making the playoffs, unfortunately. I still think Tampa's going to take that thing. But, I mean, coming into next year, we're just going to have to see how Penix does in these next 2 games and take the risk like he's a rookie quarterback going into next year. You got to deflate the receivers just a little bit. And sometimes it works out like Terry McLaurin this year with Jaden. But, I mean, and with the Bears, Caleb Williams, he hasn't really supported receivers all year. So it's just going to be one of them things next year that we're going to be talking about, as the ceiling might be higher with Penix if he ends up being great. But if he's just an average rookie QB, his receivers are going to suffer a little bit from that.
Swizzy, what you got to say?
From what I saw him play, I mean, he made some really good decisions. I saw one where he came back and, I mean, there was just nothing that he got swat. He was about to get sacked immediately. He pumped and then just instead of trying to make something happen like some quarterbacks do, just throwing that bitch up or taking the sack, he got it. He threw it low enough to hit the ground. The kid's got an arm. If you listen throughout the beginning of the season, I mean, the whole point was hating on the Falcons was because, I mean, fuck, you just spent all this money for Kirk Cousins, and now you can go and take your 8th pick and draft Penix. It was never a knock against the Penix himself. The dude's a hell of a player. Right. He's a good player. I was way higher on him than a lot of people were. And I think the reason that now throughout the season people haven't been as high on him is because we've only been seeing Bryce, not Bryce. Why the fuck am I saying Bryce? We've seen Jaden Daniels. We've seen Drake May play. We've seen Caleb Williams going out there with all these receivers and struggling like hell with his painted ass fingernails. Like we see this shit. We're not seeing Michael Penix, and now we're going to start seeing Penix. It's toward the end of the year. Like Crapman said, he's probably got 2 games left because the Falcons aren't making the playoffs. And with the amount of money that y'all spent and the moves that y'all made, I'm still laughing at the Falcons and that they're talking about they're about to cut Kirk. Are you serious? Are you kidding me, man? Hey, as a Carolina Panther fan, I'm glad to know that there are organizations out there that are worse than us.
Hey, man, go ahead. We just going to rip the Band-Aid off, man. Ashcraft, man, when we was breaking down rookies in the offseason, I said, my Lord, it's just an honor and a privilege to watch that man sling the rock like that, man. That dude is slinging the rock. And I think it's worked out pretty good. Like, as far as I get the Kirk Cousins stuff, like, in my opinion, I didn't mind getting Kirk Cousins and drafting a quarterback because I've been big on the Falcons. They need to shore up the quarterback spot anyways. And I'm big on any organization doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like, even with the Vikings picking up Daniel Jones and adding him to the quarterback room, like, dude, all these NFL teams should be just adding him to the room. You know what I'm saying?
Daniel Jones.
He's a winner.
He's a winner.
But I think it's worked out for the best. He got to start off versus the Giants. So they got to ease him in, let Bijan run the ball a lot. But I think we're really about to see the upside on Drake London, what he can be. Because I had Drake London this year, and then he did have some good games. But, man, Kirk Cousins went through that stretch, 4 or 5 games, where it's like 1 touchdown, 12 picks. Like, I remember watching one game. I said it in the group chat, Swizzy. I said, it looked like Kirk Cousins been paid off to throw a couple of them picks. I mean, that don't look crazy. The dude's got to be washed a little bit. I'm not really big on. I just think maybe something. I don't know if I could say Kirk Cousins is washed, but maybe the Achilles has tired him out a little bit, something like that, the whole year. But the dude definitely faded. So we're definitely not seeing. I mean, I got goose eggs from Mooney towards the end of the year, and Drake London wasn't really doing nothing. But next year, I mean, I think the sky's the limit because I'm big on Penix, and I've been big on Penix, and they're gonna be slinging the rock a whole lot more, and the offense is definitely about to change.
I will tell you that y'all probably should have kept Jonnu and got rid of Kyle Pitts. That dude,
For
Yeah, man.
sure.
at this point, I
Hey.
mean, are we getting to like cut territory? I mean, I know that like
Yeah, we are.
because
I'm just being
seeing
honest.
them. We're seeing NFL teams cut players now quickly. Like these in Kyle Pitts is that I don't know, man. It's just if you watch the Falcons game the other day, you just got to know what I'm fucking talking about. Like you just know,
Man.
you just know.
Listen, Big Dunk, he's a big tight end guy. He's a big Kyle Pitts fan. He comes on here and talks about Kyle Pitts, and I've like, I ain't gonna say I've defended Dunk, but I haven't like totally got off the bandwagon. Like, even in the future, but Kyle Pitts could luckily get have some good fantasy performances and good seasons just because he's a tight end. But man, let's just be real, Kraft, man. That one play, that dude needs to be cut. That dude don't give a fuck out there, man. That dude is out there just cashing up hate. Man, that dude, it's either low IQ or that dude don't give a fuck. And I just think that dude, he don't give a damn about what what they got going on out there. You know what I'm saying?
Man, really back in college, I don't know why he got drafted so high to begin with, but he wasn't really a separator in college. Like he was just jumping over guys, making contested catches, and that's just not translating. Like he looks slow, he can't get open, separation's terrible. But yeah, we're pretty much done with Kyle Pitts unless I'm not even holding my breath for like a late breakout like age. He's still young, but I'm pretty much giving up thinking that he's going to be even a top 7 dynasty tight end.
I mean, he's ass. That's all I can say about motherfucking Kyle Pitts.
You can
I guess that
give up a
pretty.
tight end to
Go
an
ahead, Chris.
organization that historically doesn't use the tight end. Go look at the Dolphins. The Dolphins like in the past, at least in the past few seasons, they had Mike Gesicki there for a while, which I always thought Mike Gesicki was a good, like he's a decent tight end. He's not like no top tier or anything, but the Dolphins just didn't ever use tight ends. And then all of a sudden, Jonnu, I feel like mid-season they had that one game with Jonnu Smith, and they were like, "Oh shit, we can just dump the ball off to this motherfucker like 9 times a game, and we can just win games doing that." I mean, shit,
Yeah.
I threw a fucking second out for Jonnu Smith in the home league just to throw him out there. Early second too. Next year's second, it's going to be a top three second pick. So in our league, it's going to be the 111 or the 112, like in a 10-man league.
Yeah,
and I threw it out there. I don't give a fuck. Like, give me a good tight end. I had Dalton Schultz. You've seen how the Texans have been playing. I mean, anybody wanting Nico Collins to win you a championship this week or CJ Stroud to perform well for you, you were hurting. So go and get you a nice little tight end. Like you can't trust people like Kyle Pitts or anything. Like you went all in on Kyle Pitts. Like it's biting you in the ass this week. It's been biting in the ass all season.
Yeah. And to go talk about like Mooney and Drake London and what they are next year. As of right now, Drake London season average wide receiver 21, Darnell Mooney's wide receiver 40, and Kirk Cousins, he's on pace for about 4,000 yards. If he played all season, 4,000 yards, he's got 18 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. So I guess I'm just asking y'all, like, what is Penix? Is that going to be close to what Penix is going to be next year? 4,000 yards, 20 touchdowns? Because asking a rookie quarterback to throw for over 20 touchdowns is kind of, I mean, it's tough. So I'm just wondering where y'all think Drake London. Is it going to be better or worse or about the same?
Man, it's going to be way better, way better. I might be the only one thinking it, but man, I think sky's the limit for the offense now.
I'm gonna say.
I had Penix up there.
Yeah.
Bo Nix has 22 touchdowns on the season. He's thrown for 22, and he's having a really good rookie year.
I think Bo Nix is good, but I just don't think he don't have the upside like this. I feel like Michael Penix has as much upside. I mean, look at what Caleb Williams is doing. I mean, Penix can do that. He can do better than that. I mean, I would say, when we was ranking them, it was a debate between Penix and Drake May to me. I'm thinking you're going to see Penix come in. He's getting some reps this year. He's 25, 26 years old. They need to just let it roll next year. Just let it fly and try to go win you a Super Bowl and pretend. And I ain't going to say pretend, but act like this is your Super Bowl window with this quarterback right here that you drafted who's got all these reps, even spent a year in the organization. It should change. I'm talking about big time changes.
That's what the hope is.
Like, we better see Drake London at the top of tier 2 for sure next year is what I'm saying. And if it doesn't happen next year, then you're just going to have to rethink of what Drake London is, like we're doing with Garrett Wilson this year and Waddle and guys like that. I mean, Drake London to me hasn't been that bad, like Waddle bad, but.
So in my Dynasty rankings I'm looking at now, I had Drake London ranked at wide receiver 10. This is before the season. Does that sound about right? He was behind Garrett Wilson, A.J. Brown. I mean, Tyreek, but Tyreek's dropped. And Jalen Waddle was number 11. So a couple guys under him that we could bring up. Nico for sure. Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., they all jump. Drake London, right?
Yes.
And maybe, What about Marv? What about Marvin Harrison? Is he just having
he ain't jump? He's not jumping Drake London right now, but he's up there.
He was at wide receiver 5.
Yeah, I mean, well, shoot, I don't know, man. Well, Marv's a tough one because to me, Marv's not even the best one in this class right now. Like, it's Brian Thomas Jr. for me, and he's the one I will take him over Malik Neighbors personally. So Marv's definitely
has just been having issues like that. I don't know, that kid's head is like a magnet for injuries, dude. Like that dude, he almost left the game the other day with another head injury.
Marv has definitely dropped from what we thought his dynasty ranking was before the season, and definitely where we was drafting him at redraft. I mean, this was a guy we had drafting in the back of the first, early second, so his dynasty ranking had to be super high. That's dropping.
Might be Kyler sucks. Kyler just sucks.
I think all y'all need to just relax. Y'all are way overreacting with Kyler. Like, he has his bad games, but he has good games.
He's good until October 23rd of every year when Call of Duty comes out.
I mean,
and then after that, I swear to God, dude, he doesn't give a fuck.
I've been defending Kyler for fantasy. Like, I don't know how great of an NFL quarterback he is, but I've been defending him for fantasy football. But shoot, this year, it's been terrible.
He's always been a good fantasy. He's always been a good fantasy quarterback. That doesn't always translate to he's a good NFL quarterback. We want to talk about a good NFL quarterback. The Carolina Panthers just ended their fucking season. Like, they don't have a postseason now because of the Carolina Panthers.
In season average, he's a QB 15 behind Russell Wilson, Brock Purdy, Tua, Bo Nix, Patrick Mahomes.
Oof. Well, he's been bad. I'm just saying he's had his good games. He's had his real bad games. But I feel like that's what people are pretty much playing for in fantasy and redraft. The upside. I mean, am I mistaken? He had games where he had 57-yard rushing touchdowns. I mean, who's out there doing that?
His upside really hasn't been that good. He hasn't even scored over. He scored over 30 points one time this season.
I think his upside is QB2 in the league. And that's his upside.
I just don't know what's going on.
Like, they just
Marv's not good. Yeah, Marv's not playing good at all.
I also think that with the addition of like a back too, like James Conner too, like you got to look back when James Conner signed with the Cardinals was when you're handing the ball off to James Conner 25 times a game.
That's what they need to do. That's how they win games.
That is how they win games.
Giving that ball to Conner.
Yeah. Well, shoot, man. So while we on quarterbacks, I got one more quarterback to bring up, CJ Stroud, because everybody on Twitter now blasting this man. And they're like, man, that's why you don't crown people too early and yada, yada, yada. And I just want to say that before the season started, I told, and I believe y'all was pretty much on board. I know Crabman was on board with me because I know CJ Stroud was going like top 5 and like, I think best ball and probably redraft too. I was saying you need to treat CJ Stroud like you need to treat Joe Burrow and some of these pocket passers. I mean, CJ Stroud is one of these guys that could go off like he did his rookie year, or he can do what the fuck is going on this year. He can have one of these little bum ass years right here. He's not throwing a lot of touchdowns. He's got some weapons hurt, so I'll give him a little bit of leeway. But I think now is really a good time while he's getting crushed on Twitter. Bang, now's a good time to go buy low on CJ Stroud. I mean, he's looked like, I mean, damn, he just got beat. What? Did they even score a touchdown? Wasn't it like 30-2 or something crazy? I mean, it was ridiculous, wasn't it?
It was 30-2.
So, I mean, I know you can't, it's most of y'all got trade deadlines, but I'm just talking about after the year and we open up these trades and, CJ Stroud going to have a little stank on him this year. That's all I'm saying. And you can definitely go get CJ Stroud after he just had a good ass year and we're drafting him top 5 in best ball and redraft. At least you know, hey, his ceiling's up there, and that was at a rookie. His ceiling's probably a little bit higher. So I just love that he's getting crushed right now. If you want to go buy him, I'm not even like a huge CJ Stroud guy, but you know, you just got to be objective about these things. Like it's the same thing with Joe Burrow. He's had some bad years mixed in with the good.
I mean,
that's just how it is with the pocket passers.
It's going to be the same. Also, it's also probably going to be the same thing for like Jaden Daniels and stuff like that. We saw Jaden Daniels the first few games. He wanted to run the ball too much. Then once we see him settle in and start using the pocket more and using his legs as when he needed to or on design plays for him, stuff started clicking and getting better. I'm not saying it's going to be this big old drop, but somebody gets a whole year worth of tape on you, it's going to look different next season when you try it out there and you try to do the same thing over and over again. Jaden Daniels, I mean, he's had a hell of a season, man. I mean, that kid is ridiculous. He's a good player, but what did people expect from these people? I know if you're a Texans fan, you're out here, you're like, man, he probably looked like Jesus to you last year. CJ Stroud is probably like, this dude's the second fucking coming. He's gonna be the savior to all our problems. The NFL don't work like that. The NFL does not work like that. It will chew you up and spit you the fuck right back out.
I mean, it's just a sophomore slump. Like a lot of QBs go through it. I've watched a lot of Texans games, and he doesn't look bad to me. It's more the play calling is just not what it was last year. Defenses have had a whole year to plan for what they do, and Diggs got hurt. Diggs was going to be a big weapon for the offense, and now Tank Dell's going to be out they've already ruled him out for 2025. Like his career might be over. So that's another reason to buy low if you think, yeah, exactly. So you talking about Tank Dell being a buy low or CJ Stroud?
Might be a crazy buy low. Might be a crazy buy low for Tank Dell. You just go stick on that IR for him.
And that's
I paid a first for him
because of CJ Stroud.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you got to remember CJ Stroud. He brought in Stephon, and Nico was cooking at the beginning of the year, and he had his hamstring problem because I mean, he was looking like an alpha dog, and then went on the IR, came back. He had a couple good games, but he's pretty much faded because I know me and Crapman, we got him in an FFPC team. Nico really hasn't been doing. Man, it's crazy crap. I was willing to trade CD for Nico straight up at the end of the year. If they were willing to do it, they weren't doing it. I'm glad it didn't go down like that now. But but Tank Dell just got shot or something didn't he just have something going on with him in the offseason? Stephon, a new wide receiver, they had some things cooking. Things just fell apart this year. They'll probably run it back next year. Joe Mixon be part of the plan. Same thing. Nothing to worry about. Just go buy him. Down tier if you want to. Maybe if you can get CJ Stroud in the first. If you got one of those quarterbacks, if you can pull it off.
Yeah, Stroud's been terrible. I'm looking at his average right now. He's got the same average as Kirk Cousins this season. So 15 points a game. I don't know if he's had any game over 20 this entire season.
He's been bad. Ain't no doubt about it.
Yeah, look, I took him in redraft in pretty early. And I felt good about taking him. I think it wasn't in the first 5. I think it was 6th, 7th round. But I ended up taking Jaden Daniels a few after that. So,
and then traded his ass.
Do what? No, I'm talking about in redraft.
Oh,
Yeah, I
in
traded.
redraft,
Hey,
yeah.
I had a chance. I had a chance. I fucked up. I made a bad roster decision. I wanted to be like, all right, look, if anybody can just have like a fucking crazy day sitting on my bench, it's Travis Etienne. But for whatever fucking reason, I don't know if he's forgotten how to play football or what's going on. I love me some Travis Etienne. Fuck, but good God, dude. Like they ran the ball like 3 straight times on the fucking goal line. And I was like, please put this motherfucker in, dude. Please, because if he would have just gotten like a touchdown, or if this motherfucker would have gotten 10 more yards, one more fucking point, I would have won because they took Jacobs out. And Dunk was talking about, well, was Jacobs hurt? No, it's just the Packers are a classy organization, and they're not going to go out there and keep their starters in the whole game and nearly, cost them their postseason. Like, they're not going to do stuff like that. It was crazy that he got enough just to beat me, and they pulled him out. I was hoping that he was done. After that series, I was like, all right, he might be done. Then I saw him go out there. He caught a pass, and he broke off a little 10-yard run, and I was like, well, but
the playoffs be crazy.
Fantasy football, if you play it's a fickle bitch. It is what it is. But I'm in a championship in the other league, so I'm good.
Back to back, ain't you?
Back to back to back, 3 times.
Yeah,
you were in the
Dude championship
last year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would have been in a championship in 2 leagues back to back if I would have just kept Rashad White.
Yeah,
like my Dunk says, I'm just a bonehead, dude. I just gotta accept it. I'm a bonehead. Said he was proud of me for finally accepting it. But I've got more fantasy championships than you do, son. Sit out.
He ain't about to get one this year neither.
Dang. All right. Well, shoot. Let's switch it on over, man. Kraft, man, I know you got your dynasty rankings out because I want to talk about a specific player or a couple players real quick. But I do want to say this, man. Before the year, our dynasty rankings were at least tier 1 was in some order each and every way. All of us had Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra as tier 1. And then when I looked at right when we went to the playoffs, the top 4 receivers that had finished that year were Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra, CeeDee Lamb. So when it comes to dynasty rankings, and we'll be dropping our dynasty rankings here in the offseason and stuff like that, and on the Discord, that tier 1 cannot change for them 4, in my opinion. And maybe the dynamic of them changed a little bit. CD had a backup. I mean, CD was like the wide receiver 4 for the longest, and he's been playing with Cooper Rush for like over half the year. Amon-Ra, they've been blowing teams out. Justin Jefferson, they had a couple weak weeks, but him and Sam Darnold got to cook him, man. Them motherfuckers are rolling. And then you know what Burrow and Chase been doing all year. That stack's been just dangerous all year. Earlier, maybe a few weeks ago, we were talking about that tier 1, and we were talking about some names. We talked about Nico, and then he's had his injuries, Malik Neighbors, and he's had his downtime. But the conversation really should be Brian Thomas Jr., in my opinion, for this tier 1. And I really don't even think I'm overreacting, to be honest with you. I just think if we're about to have a conversation of who you would pay up for, thinking that they're going to enter into that tier 1 status with these 4 guys, the player to pay up for is Brian Thomas Jr. And for example, I had Micah Mitchell text me, ask me, he's like, what do you think about Brian Thomas Jr.? And I texted back immediately. I said, I want him. And he was like, he's like, I ain't giving him up. And I was like, I'll give you Amon-Ra for Brian Thomas Jr. straight up. He said no. So I'm just wondering where the hell this man's value is sitting right now, because it's not like he's at a buy low spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, this dude might be better than guys like Malik Neighbors and Marv, because I mean, he's down here. I'm not saying Mac Jones. I mean, he's been a starter in this league, but I'm saying it almost looks like Brian Thomas Jr. might be quarterback proof too. Or while you're playing, you know what I'm saying? Malik Neighbors has had his up and downs. I know he's had a shit ton of quarterbacks that ain't nothing. You can't really blame him for that. But I'm just saying, Brian Thomas Jr. might be the player to pay up for thinking that he's going to produce like these 4 guys have been producing.
I mean, the one thing going into next year that people are going to say about Brian Thomas is all the receivers were hurt. Trevor Lawrence he got injured, but I mean, Christian Kirk went out. Gabe Davis, they had him. He's not playing. So Brian Thomas has had a lot of opportunity to show what he's got this year, but I still think that he was just as good at the beginning of the year when
he was still the wide receiver 1 for that team at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, his first couple games, I mean, 12, 10, 7, 18, 20, that was when all them guys were there. And his targets have gone up tremendously with Mac Jones in the past 4 games, 10, 12, 14, 13 targets. So, and at the beginning of the year, he was averaging about 6 or 7. But with Trevor Lawrence, he was just hitting all them big plays. So I guess I just asked y'all, like, what is his ceiling as a receiver? Like, is he like, what do you see with him? Like high target volume, or just is he a playmaker down the field? Is he more like a Mike Evans type receiver, or is he more like a CD Justin Jefferson where he's going to be used all over the formations and getting like a whole bunch of targets all the time?
I think he's just going to be Brian Thomas Jr. Because, like, I mean, he is kind of like that. Like, he's with Trevor Lawrence at the beginning of the year, the majority of his fantasy points would come on a go route or blown coverage, and then bam, he got one catch that was 65 yards and a touchdown, and there you go. That's the majority of your fantasy points. And then down the stretch, the targets increase. Then here with Mac Jones, anytime you get a player that's catching the ball, getting targeted 14 times, and is at least probably catching anywhere from like 9 to 12 of them, you got to think you playing in PPR. That's a point a catch. That's 9 points right there. You got to add in the yards. It's going to add up. I mean, that volume. This kid, I think you can run him anywhere on the line too. I mean, he could literally play out of anywhere, and he's kind of having to with the only other receiver on the team right now being Parker Washington. Like they kind of got to. But even with Christian Kirk there, I don't think Evan Ingram wasn't there at the beginning of the season though, was he? I don't believe so. I thought he came later.
He was hurt some of the year.
Yeah. But
Evan Ingram, yeah, he was out for like the first couple weeks, I feel like.
I'm not at the point where I would trade Amon-Ra straight up for him, but
I wouldn't trade Puka. I wouldn't trade Puka Nacua for him. I think Puka deserves to be up there too.
That one's the closest.
Puka does get target volume like crazy too. That's what makes Puka really good is the target volume. He gets big chunk plays too, but what I'm seeing more is that they're running a lot more short shit for Puka. And anytime you can get a yakking up receiver like that, I mean, that's phenomenal in itself. They can break a screen, take it to the house, or they're just getting 15 fucking catches a game. Like, that's just like if you got that sitting on your squad, you feel good.
But Brian Thomas got a younger QB that's going to be there for a while. He signed a deal, and Puka, we don't know what the quarterback situation is going to be in LA, and we don't know what the coaching situation is going to be like. So I could see some reasoning why Brian Thomas could be ranked a little bit higher than Puka if you want to go that far. I'm just trying to think of some players, like some rookies that broke out like he did who didn't pan out, and there's not many of them that had that good of a rookie year and then just fall on their face the next year.
Yeah.
Dotson, but he was out for a while. Had he played a majority of that first season, I felt like he would have had like a decent year because based on the first 3 games that he played, I mean, he was going to have a fucking phenomenal season. And then he came back, and then Washington had the Sam Howell and the Chad Henne and all that. Like they were just swapping in quarterbacks left and right and all that. But
to go back to what Kraft was saying about the big plays, like he was getting the big plays with Trevor Lawrence, but I think now what you're seeing is him being unlocked and developing as just a different type of receiver, or not a different type of receiver. He's just adding to his game, you know what I'm saying, adding to his craft. Now that when T. Law comes back, they need to be adding him each and every way how Mac Jones is doing it and adding the big game. And that's really what's going to make Brian Thomas Jr., his upside so crazy, because they're going to definitely have the big play ball going with T. Law because he just throws it deep all the time. So that definitely fits Brian Thomas Jr.'s game. So if you can add the dig routes, the quick slants, you add all that, the PPR points, it's over with. And I will definitely take it. I'm with Chris. I was really just bluffing saying that Amon-Ra for Brian Thomas. I would not do that straight up. And I probably would not do Puka, but that is the closest. That might be a tier in itself right there. That might be my tier 2 right there, is like Puka and
I would give up
Brian
multiple
Thomas Jr.
firsts. I would give up multiple firsts to get Brian Thomas Jr. though.
Did you give up the 101?
I mean, what?
Nah.
Who
Like for
think's
this
gonna be the
25
101 this year? What?
Gentry or Genty?
I mean,
What we breaking down in
Superflex
rookies
is probably
here,
going to
too.
be like Sanders, won't it? If it's going to be Superflex, something like Sanders.
It's going to be
or
one of them
somebody like
quarterbacks.
that.
Yeah.
Yep. Definitely going to be breaking down them rookies here soon. No doubt about it. All right, crap, man. I got one more for you. Really just one more topic. Last year, and I feel like you hit on this. Last year, you were saying the best buy low in Dynasty. You were saying JSN. And I would say you've been pretty spot on lately. It looks like he's definitely taken over what they got going on in Seattle with DK. I mean, I be seeing DK's numbers, and I just be trying to hit the under on them lately.
Yeah, he's tricked me a couple times, especially early. JSN ain't helping me in this championship matchup. I can tell you that much right now. But wide receiver 7 on the season right now, 93 receptions, over 1,000 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, so basically this is what brings me to my thing. The best buy low in Dynasty right now, coming into next year. I know we're in championship week, but in this offseason, the best buy low in Dynasty is going to be Roma Dunze for the Chicago Bears. I know Craftman ain't going to like this one because he don't like Caleb Williams and he don't like the Bears, but they about to go off. Roma Dunze, it's just time for them to establish that he's the man. DJ Moore and them, they're not that good.
I don't see it, man. I don't see it.
I'd much rather
people
buy
didn't see it with
on
JSN.
Xavier Worthy.
Man, you tripping on that now.
Oh,
Xavier Worthy, this man had one good game. And
Hey,
he's had like 3. He's had 3 in a row.
Hey, y'all seen the targets for this man? Y'all remember Rashid Rice last year, how he had a very slow start to the season, and then they started working him in there at the back half. Xavier Worthy's getting some targets. I'm still not the biggest Xavier Worthy fan, and it was the Lad McConkey versus Xavier Worthy on the podcast earlier this year, and I said folks be crazy taking Worthy over McConkey, but that wasn't saying Worthy was shit. It was saying McConkey is the shit. But Worthy's I think he's gonna be fine. I'd rather have him than Roma Dunze.
Man, you just that Packers bias. You just can't get it out of you, man.
The Bears don't ever have. It's not the Bears never have good quarterback play, and it's never gonna change. They're gonna go.
Think?
I said everything was dead on this year. I said that mid-season they're gonna fire their coach, they're gonna fire their offensive coordinator, and they're gonna blame it on Caleb Williams, saying it was his fault. It's never the quarterback's fault in Chicago. I mean, the definition of insanity, man.
I think you got
the same shit over and over.
I'm with you. Xavier Worthy's a buy low. Oh. Well, I would say Worthy was a buy low.
You ain't buying him low for me.
What he's doing now.
He ain't buying him low
from Chris. But what I'm saying is we got to see if he's going to take that step up to be like the Zay Flowers type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Man, Roma Dunze is like, we should be looking at top 12 potential with Caleb Williams. They better make the step up. As long as they make the right changes, it's over with. They need to get rid of Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. They're bums.
I just don't historically think that that's going to work out in their favor.
Man, something's got to change at some point. We just got to hope it's with this generational talent with our guy Caleb Williams painting his fingernails. I know
he said he'll stop painting his fingernails when he wins the Super Bowl.
That's a man that sounds like he knows he ain't winning the Super Bowl.
That's what it sounds like.
That sounds like he ain't ever gonna win. Oh man, go ahead, Crab Man.
I was just gonna say Caleb Williams is just playing like he's playing like a rookie. He's holding on to the ball too long, and I think that will fix itself a little bit. Like next year, if they bring in, good God, if they could get Ben Johnson from Detroit, then I might actually be in on some of the Bears guys. But they keep getting these damn no-name offensive coordinators and stuff. Shane Waldron from Seattle. You remember when they asked JSN, like, what do you think of him? JSN said, good luck.
So, all right. So, going into next year, what's the best buy low? I say it's Roma Dunze. What do you say, Kraft man?
I mean, I like Rashee Rice, even though he's not really that low, but getting Rashee Rice at a discount would be great. I mean, I still think he probably would have been top 5, top 8 receiver this year if he'd have played all season, especially in PPR.
Yeah.
I mean, 7, 8 receptions a game. And, but that's just the one that came to my mind. I mean, there might be a couple that sneak through later when I get to thinking about it, but just being on the spot right now, I would probably say Rashee Rice be a guy that I want.
It's
Chris
Hubbard, and it's not even close.
Chuba.
I mean, I'm just wondering how low his stock is. I mean, in redraft next year, that dude's definitely going way
Top
higher
3
than what
rounds.
I mean, I ain't saying that, but he's up there, ain't he? But don't you think? I'm just wondering what his stock is. Well, what's Chuba Hubbard's dynasty stock? And he just signed.
He just signed, and the running back that they drafted just tore the same ACL. Whenever I saw it, I texted before they even say. I said, "Jonathan Brooks just retore his ACL."
That's just crazy.
I saw him just. Anytime you see that non-contact, it's just over with. But I mean, it's got to be up there because they just this dude is our offense. He's the entire offense.
So now it's like you can't. Well, to me, it just makes him not even a buy low, especially with how good he's fucking been. I mean, go look at that game log. Chuba Hubbard's been the man this year. So I'm just saying, I don't think he's a buy low because I think his stock is top notch, and there ain't even no reason to knock him. Because the other, like Chris said, that dude's got a torn ACL. I mean, this dude he has nothing to worry about, and they getting it rolling with Bryce Young.
I mean, it's still the Panthers. I think that he is still lower than what he should be because this guy's like a top 8 running back this season, and I think the Panthers are gonna be better next year. They're not gonna be a playoff team, I don't think, but they're already playing better. Bryce Young looks a little better. They're gonna beef up that offensive line, and they're gonna get some defensive players. That's what they need the most. But but Chuba's a good running back. He was, if I had to say my fantasy favorite player this year to have, I had Chuba in 3 different leagues, and that's my favorite. That was my favorite player.
Yeah,
that was on any of my teams all season. Like I started him over Joe Mixon last week in my other dynasty league.
Just one thing you got to know, man. We lose them by 30. Running it right up the A gap, Chuba Hubbard the whole fucking game, the whole game.
And when they don't,
down your throats.
The games that they look like the old Panthers, like in these past couple weeks, like the game against not the previous game. Who they play? Like the Cardinals. They beat the Cardinals. The week before, they got the shit kicked out of them. But Chuba had like 10 carries. Yeah, the Cowboys. Chuba had 10 carries. It was like, what are y'all doing? Like, this is y'all's offense.
Yeah.
We also didn't have a bunch of receivers, but see, and that only leans in more to that point that Chuba should be running the ball. I think Chuba Hubbard for right now, he needs to be touching the ball at least 15 to 20 times a game. I don't care what the score is.
I agree.
Well, it looks like at the very least, Chuba needs to be considered somebody you should buy for your championship run in Dynasty. Looking at as a veteran piece, you know what I'm saying? Probably takes a first to get him, though, Kraft, man. You spending a late first, you got the 109 through 12 to get Chuba. Yep. I mean, if you weren't going for the championship.
I mean, I bought in the offseason from Chris, I bought James Cook for the 110. So would you – I mean, I feel like that's somewhat similar in the offseason to pay the 110 for Chuba.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems about right to me.
Man, that's some good stuff, Kraft man. That's all I got for y'all tonight. You got something you got to say for us, Kraft man?
Yeah, I was just talking. Yeah, I was just going to since we're on running backs a little bit, I wanted to talk about like just a couple guys whose stocks kind of have fallen, and then some other guys like Josh Jacobs. We were talking him in the offseason about the Packers signed him for like a 3-year deal, but it could only be 1 year. I'm pretty sure Josh Jacobs is going to be our running back next year. About 100% sure after what he's done this year. So,
yeah,
I think his stock has risen up. And a couple guys, Breece Hall and Kenneth Walker. Kenneth Walker is one I want to talk about. Like, I think he's fallen down to where I would rather have Chuba Hubbard over Kenneth Walker.
Whew.
Easily.
Well, when he hasn't, my thing with Kenneth Walker, when he hasn't been dealing with this injury, this lingering fucking ankle injury or all the injuries that he's dealt with, he's been all right. He hasn't. No, he has dropped. He has.
Charbonnet's playing better too. In his absence.
But I mean that's also true. But then in the games where, but also in the games, I mean, I don't know. Seattle has just looked really weird this year. It's just been weird.
Kenneth Walker's definitely a bad man, and I would definitely buy low on him. And I wish that I didn't have two motherfuckers here that would be vetoing my dynasty trades, because I would love to have Kenneth Walker on my team going into next year. A perfect buy low situation. I would love Kenneth Walker. I mean, I see he just got put on IR. I mean, what the hell happened to him? He's just been hurt. That's why I feel like there's a stank on
ankle again. Yeah, it's just that.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's just the problem with Kenneth Walker. I feel like his has been injuries, but you're right. Charbonnet been playing, but they also use Charbonnet differently than Kenneth Walker. So,
they used him on the goal line too when Kenneth Walker was playing.
Yeah,
except for that game that Kenneth Walker had like 3 or 4 touchdowns. Goal line.
He looks so good when he plays. It's just like, when is this guy just too injury prone that he just pisses you off so much? So I guess a buy low situation.
What, 3rd year, 2nd year? I mean, it's gonna take a minute. But definitely buy low.
Yeah, I could buy low on Kenneth Walker. I mean, what else would you do if you got him on your team? You got to hold. I mean, are you selling him for a first? You would just sell him for a late first, Kenneth Walker?
I mean, I would still try to squeeze out like a mid-late first. Like, yeah.
I would probably. I would downgrade. I would just downgrade, I would downgrade, and I would try to get older. Like, I would try to get.
Give me James Conner in like a second.
Yeah, something like that. That's a good name to put in there. I was gonna say Jacobs, but you're not getting Jacobs. He's not old enough. I mean, shit, even Derrick Henry, like as old as he is, I would probably Derrick Henry in a second, thinking Derrick Henry get one more good year with Baltimore after this.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Man, just a little stank on Kenneth Walker, in my opinion. That's all.
Definitely Demont. I'd love to have Demont for him.
Man, he might be a sell high.
Who, David Montgomery, you think?
Could be.
He signed.
We got him on our team in FFPC. We got decisions. Yeah, that is true.
we got screwed in that shit.
Man, me and Crabman probably had the best team all year and scored the most points all year. Might not even win the championship. Probably not going to win the championship. So.
We're not.
It's some motherfucking bullshit.
CeeDee Lamb, Kamara. Who else? We lost a quarterback for Jerry Jeudy. We lost our quarterback for. We had another player. Like we got banged up. Yeah, Dak.
Gonna get the Fake Stuff podcast team too rolling there soon. Yep, definitely gonna have a startup. About to be working on the cruise or whatever we are, the Fake Podcast startup, and we'll see how many people we could get up in there. But yeah, Crabman, go ahead. Any more names you want to toss on out there?
I mean, yeah, I want to try to see where y'all are at with Chase Brown and where he belongs.
I would definitely bring Chase Brown back. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what's the deal on him?
He's only in his 2nd year in his rookie deal,
but he's like a 5th round pick.
I don't think it matters. So what is that?
Look, I mean,
they're going to have to bring another running back in.
Yep, because they're definitely not going to bring Zach Moss back. But I mean, the way he's looked, it's like, it's going to come in to be a competition. You know what I'm saying? Like, are they going to draft somebody? He'll just have to be somebody who survives the draft, probably. I mean, he survived that in the first 2 days.
My thing is with him is they're not paying him a lot of money, and they're going to have to pay. They're going to try to pay T. Higgins, and a lot of that money is going to be with Burrow, Chase, and Higgins. I don't think you're going to be able to bring in a expensive running back, so they're probably just going to draft one in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round next year and he'll be the starter to start the season. I don't think Zach Moss is. I think he's cooked. I think he's done.
He's not even a factor.
Nah, he ain't. I mean, I would. Chase Brown and Kenneth Walker are pretty close in my opinion. I know that's probably a little crazy, but I think Chase Brown definitely got a couple good years left.
I hear that.
Especially next year.
Nope, I agree. I think I'm with you the whole way, Kraft, man. I guess see Swizzy done checked out for the night, but that don't mean nothing. That's how we go about to be with the podcast. Yeah, if you are checking us out on YouTube and stuff like this, I mean, we're going to have folks popping in and popping out. We got a whole team working behind us, doing our thing. So you'll see some different faces that you ain't seen, and you'll mostly see me and the Kraft man and see Swizzy. And heck, you might see a face on here not even talking. You know, might have a little producer on the side just sitting there and just listening. Maybe look something up for us every now and then. But Kraft man, really, I mean, is there anything you want to say before we get on out of here?
Just good luck to everybody on their fantasy championships, and hopefully y'all can pull it out if y'all listen to us. And the NFL playoffs are coming up right after this week. Man, it almost feels good to take a breath.
Clicking music, man. If y'all hear music, man, I'm just man. We and Kraft, man, we just clicking buttons, doing all kinds of shit, man. That's just how we do. But yeah, man, listen, man, the hardest time to put out content is that little playoff time right during this time. Because this is what me and Kraft, man, we on the run. We trying to win championships, you know what I'm saying? Like, we ain't going to be sitting there. You know, we can't drop a podcast episode every night during that little time period, man. We got to be on the playoffs, you know what I'm saying, Kraft, man?
Oh, yeah. I'm ready for it.
But now since I'm kicked out, here we are. Let's go. I'm ready to get this pod rolling. But you know, thanks for listening. Join the Discord. Check us out on YouTube. We really want to push that YouTube page and push that Discord. We're not going to run that website, but that's just about it. Kraft, and anything else?
Nah, I'm good, man. I'm glad to be on with y'all.
Yep, same, man. I appreciate it, but all right, man. That about wraps it on up, man. We out.
Peace.